to the Meta Sports League studios and the DigiFan Podcast. This one will be a fun one. We're going a little remote. We've got Wags on the big screen.
On location.
Yes, on location. JC and Peanut. We have, I think that Quirky Quirk might join us too. And then LT will be coming in late. He's coming in hot. Real hot.
LT's is going to take my spot when he gets here. We're going to go try to get some golf in today in the gusts of 50 miles an hour and probably
crazy out there.
Probably some sideways rain. It's going to be great.
I think we have Wags muted up there.
What? Wagsy?
I've been talked over.
There you are.
I can't hear him. I got you, Wags. I got you.
Fuck. I'm used to perpetually being talked over, but here we go. I mean, so I like false started like 3 or 4 times, and no one's even acknowledged me. I'm used to it.
I can see. I have total control over Wags. I can do the
this
mute.
Sucks. No, this is interesting. You know what's really trippy is sitting here looking at myself in a mirror. I've got a little delayed reaction, so when I flip the bird, it's a little bit delayed. I didn't quite do it there, but you know what I'm talking about. So, hey, we got lots to talk about today, guys. Johnny Vegas is leading the PGA right now, the PGA veteran. Love that guy. Matthew Pavone is in second in the PGA right now as they're going through. Max Homa is in third, and we will get you to the rest of that a little bit later. But we got a lot to talk about, from the Timberwolves to the Twins and their insane torrid streak here, the injuries that occurred yesterday, which were frightening, as well as Danila Yurov, signed by the Minnesota Wild, which is a huge chip.
Let's go.
We'll get into that as well. So there's plenty to cover. I usually call Peanut at about 12:30 a.m. after the conclusion of every Wolves game on the West Coast time is how this is going, and he opted not to take my call after they won. And I figured that was because he was off finishing, if you know what I mean, because he was so thrilled.
Oh my gosh, I knew it. I knew it was coming.
So, Peanut, what are your thoughts? The Wolves onto the Western Conference Finals. They're the first Minnesota sports franchise to do this, and this is from my sports information director, Matt Harrington, who's in the hotel. I got to tell you, I'm at the Hyatt downtown Milwaukee, 18th floor. Top floor, we're killing it here. Had an incredible steak dinner last night. We're at the NARS, the North American Rink Managers Conference and Expo. And it's been really good for what we do here at Live Barn and the stuff that we've been doing. But Matt pointed out that the last Minnesota sports team to appear in 2 consecutive conference-type finals were, Jeff, can you guess?
So other than the Wolves, there's one more?
Yeah, the Wolves are the first team to do this since one other Minnesota pro sports team. Which one?
Is it the Lynx?
No. Of the Big Four.
Oh, the Big Four. Then I'd have to say it's the Vikings.
Nope.
Who is it?
Good grief.
It's the Minnesota North Stars, 1980, 81, and 81, 82. 81, 82, they went to Lord Stanley's Cup and lost to your New York Islanders. And that's the last time it's happened. So this isn't anything to, really walk away from. I mean, it's a huge accomplishment that they've gotten there. And, I think when you get into a conference final, it comes down to, it's just a matter of how things work out. I think we all believe this is a team that's good enough to win those 4 out of 7 games. But, I think being here is a good spot. Are the guys going to be satisfied? Absolutely not. But I do think the reality is that this is a hell of an achievement.
Especially if you consider, and I don't know, if you're 20 years old, you may not recall, like we all do, the 25 years of just painful, one season of last place after another, every now and then latching onto a superstar that may change the direction of the team, and then naturally they leave. We could say with Jimmy Butler, we just had so many that came here for a quick visit and said, these guys are poison, I'm out. And, what's happened?
I'm going to suggest this. That's a great point. When you look back at it, I mean, there was a hell of a run for the Timberwolves from 1995, 96-ish, right, when KG, Steph was here, Marbury, and the whole group. And, you went all the way through.
The only exception was those couple of years, right?
but that's a decade. We're calling it, let's not forget that's a decade. We're culminated into the Western Conference. Well, it was like 96 to 04, 05. So that's like, 8-9 years? That's a lot, Jeff. And then, but listen, the thing gets a little bit, it's not quite as good as it was. Then you have the Love Rubio thing. There were some missteps in terms of drafting, but those guys should have been I know guys, friends of mine out of market that bought the NBA pass to watch those two play. And there were some missteps along the way, but I think this market largely has Jimmy Butler to thank for the current turnaround. He did get him into the playoffs. He broke that spell from the Love Rubio era and he got him into the playoffs. How quickly we forget. And then it was from there, really, he didn't like Cat. He didn't like the younger guys. Why? Because I don't think he thought they had enough bite in their game. And he brought forth a little bit of attitude, and maybe that didn't go over well. And then really in the end, they're able to build, and they get fortunate to get the lottery pick to get Anthony Edwards, and the rest is history. This team's been really good. So you can kind of thank Butler for this.
Yeah.
And Tibbs.
Which in a very weird, it's in just to think about that, it's quite unusual and weird considering where they're at now. Again, they've obviously reunited and they're over on the East Coast, but again, I think we've seen firsthand going back to, when Ant was first drafted. I think there was quite a bit of flack even for, and let's take this full circle. I think one of the main points that scouts and individuals had actually docked against him, Wags, was his 3-point ability. And then you have him come out this year, made the most three-pointers in the league, if I remember correctly as well. So interesting seeing again how some of the scouting report, initially for him coming out of Georgia, how he's, I think taken it pretty full circle and really worked on some of the weak points that he had coming out of college.
I know enough to be dangerous. Sorry, I know enough to be dangerous, but not effective. What I do think a lot of that has to do is with shot selection and timing, and I think he's clearly has had the talent. I think he's just picking his right spots a lot better.
And how much credit do we give Finch? Because if you look at the team that made it last year. Not only do we have different personnel, with Cat being part of last year's team and a major cog in the wheel, but last year they were great all season. They brought defense back to the NBA. That's kind of was their calling card. And this year it's been a totally different story. They didn't start out as great as last year, but they've just continued to dial it in. And even through the playoffs here, they've got Plan A. If that doesn't work, Plan A I think is Ant. But he hasn't had a complete game really yet, and when he's not on, other guys come in, and it's a different game. And I think this Julius Randle piece has been just amazing to watch.
Well, it's funny. Well, we've talked about this in side conversations a lot, probably all of us. And I think the thing that really is intriguing about that is how everybody, me included, was like, how long does it take to gel? How long does it take for this to come together? And maybe to me, it wasn't a matter of gelling. It was a matter of decisions. I always say in sports, a lot of things are choices. And it looks to me like the entire group, coaching staff, players, all made choices to start putting defense as a priority again. And that had to change the way a couple of the pieces are that were a part of this. I think they started playing as a cohesive full court team as opposed to just, let's just score and hope to get it back and score again. I think there's a purpose to it. And obviously, I do think there's some of this. When you do play in the conference finals of the NBA championship and you do have a guy like Ant that's in the Olympics, man, that's a lot of basketball. And I think, these teams that go deep, historically don't always start laser fast. I think, it's just, it's kind of hard to go from, peak performance. It's like you're in a band and you're just pumping the volume as high as you possibly can. And then now we're going to go be subdued in this stuff that's not as important. It's just not as fun to play. And so I think it takes a while for it to start to really have urgency and meaning for the deep run to playoff teams. That's what it appears to me.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, our next conversation will be the Twins. You could say they're kind of the same ride that they're on right now as well. But it's going to be interesting this next series. The fact that we won 4-1 and then 4-1 again. I mean, we're resting right now. We hope, while we watch, the Nuggets and OKC battle it out still.
Yeah,
and they have a very intense game left. Yep. It's I don't know. You could probably take two schools of thought on it. Are they going to be more fresh, or are they going to be tired by the time?
Well, we saw that in Game 1 of the second round series for the Wolves. The layoff clearly didn't help them as and Steph Curry was in the lineup. But the Warriors looked much more the part of a playoff team than Minnesota did in Game 1. And that's the first thing that enters my mind because, now added to that, I do think Minnesota plays in those urgency moments a little bit better on the road than they do at home. They're not a very good front-running team. I just don't feel. I feel like when they're forced to have to respond, they seem to be much more definitive and better. It's just a trend from observing. It doesn't. I have no data points to point that to, but of the two teams that are left, I'm not kidding you. The Denver Nuggets scare the hell out of me.
Really, I don't. And OKC doesn't.
Not as much as Denver. Okay, Denver's battle. What the fuck has OKC won? Have they won a championship?
Did they have the best record in the NBA?
I don't give a shit. Have they won an NBA championship? No.
No, but either way.
The regular season record doesn't matter. What matters are teams that have proven it in the playoffs, that are veteran, that are big, that are strong. You've got the best player in the world down the middle who's catching the thing like a tennis ball and throwing it around like a baseball. It's insane. Yeah. And then you've got a team that's been there. He and Jamal Murray together, when they are together, look out. Now you had Braun in there, and that guy's starting to hit big threes. I don't know. You can take this success in the 8-0 record or whatever it is in the last 8 or 6 or 6-0, whatever. Flush that one down the toilet. Denver scares the hell out of me. It's just ripe for one of these Minnesota things to happen where everybody's, oh. No, you just watch. I would rather this team play Oak City.
Maybe so.
That's what I was saying too.
I don't want to see Jokic again. I mean, it's like, We have already done that, and he's such a odd
he's a unicorn.
Yeah, he's
fierce, man. He's just my admiration. That guy as a player and a person is as high as it can be, and I do root for him no matter. I mean, like if you lose to the Nuggets, it's like, okay, Joker, let's go, dude. You are like, to me, we talk about faces of the NBA. To me, that's who I'd want my face to be. He's just like a machine, man. Yes. He plays and plays and plays and plays. What's with the arms? Like, have you ever seen a more scratched and bruised player in your life on the arms than him? Have you noticed that?
Yeah. He's like Dolph Lundgren. He's like, there's a panel in the back that they got to put the battery back into it.
So, right on. Gosh. It's crazy though. So, and then that Celtics win was so definitive, man. Yeah. Whoa! But they got to win 2 more. They got to go into New York.
Yeah.
I mean, does New York have a little bit of pressure? Where does this one go? That's gonna be an interesting evening tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Was there any doubt that Tatum popped his Achilles on that? I'm like, Achilles, done.
Oh, really? I didn't know. I thought he broke his ankle.
It was so obvious. Well, but anyway.
That did not look fun.
No.
But that was a great response for them. So, guys, let's get the group here. Peanut, your thoughts on the Wolves through the entire series and what's upcoming next. Let me get your take, and then, Jeff, you can follow up.
Yeah, for me, I'm looking at the schedule here. It doesn't look like they play until the 20th, Tuesday. So they have some good rest time coming up, which again is pretty exciting. Again, I think that they've performed well even when Ant hasn't played well. And that was something that we were saying at breakfast earlier too. Is while yes, between Ant and Randall in the last series, both of them averaged, I think it was, or so far up until this point, 25 points, 5 boards, and 5 assists, somewhere right on there, give or take. There might be a little bit of fluctuation, but to see those two put up those type of numbers so far, again, even if Ant's been slow, DiVincenzo too. He's had some rough stretches. There's been some other dogs, as I like to say, that have just stepped up. Again, Randall's been super consistent. Gobert's been there in a couple of cases when we've really needed him as well. And then again, we have depth, which I don't think a lot of people in the NBA can actually say. And I believe that's the consensus even from the TNT crew, from Shaq and everyone else over there. That was one of the things that they were talking about the other night after we wrapped up the series. So for me, it comes down to depth and realizing that, again, even if Ant isn't on, or it takes a little bit of time for him to fire up like he did in that second half of game 4, was it, where he went out for 28 or 25 plus, 20 plus, sometimes you're gonna need other people to step up. But yeah, my thing goes back to depth, and that's imperative in the NBA, especially playoffs.
Can I follow up on that for a minute? A couple of things. We do play a drinking game now when Rudy's at the line, and you have to bump a shot down if his first shot glances the front of the rim. And I am just loaded by the end of the first half. Oh my God! But I think, Peanut, what's interesting to your point, Minnesota was exhausted after that 7-game series with Denver, and they had nothing at all left in the tank.
Correct.
So while I may say, well, we may not be ready for game 1, I do think over the course of the haul, they will be physically and mentally, more importantly, mentally ready to go, because they've had 2 series where I don't think it was a harsh mental drain on them. It is, but not to the level of what that 7-gamer with Denver was last year. And you could clearly see their tank was empty against Dallas, and you walk away and say, all right, boys, good job. But this year they've shortened their path to get to this conference final, which is huge. I think that's really important. The thing that's interesting to me, though, is you look at like game 1, Steve Kerr played like 14 players or whatever the number was. It was insane. And he was just rolling them out there. And with Minnesota, we do talk about their depth. I think it's in terms of the 8 that he's rotating. They're all productive. It's a productive 8, but man, 9, 10, 11, 12, they just kind of like sit on the bench and they start growing 8 spots waiting to get in. So there's depth, but Minnesota plays that tight rotation. And if you get into a long series, and fortunately for them, they haven't gotten into it. So I think that's going to help them. Jeff, your thoughts on the same questions?
I think the rest is definitely helping him as well. I agree with you on that 7-game series was everything, and that's also why I don't want to see Jokic again. I'd rather play OKC, take advantage of our momentum. I'd see Wolves in 5, and I can't wait for Ant to get it all together and like make it to the championship. It's going to be a great event for the city and for this team. I think we're going to play the Pacers.
So my thought here, real quick.
I want to get game 1 first before I start talking about in 5 stuff, and then I want to be able to see what happens with this Knicks Celtics series, if that thing gets forced to a game 7 or not. I think the Knicks are a really good basketball team, and how wild would that be for the NBA if, at some way, it's the Wolves and the Knicks who did like the day the season starts trade that made the world say, "What is going on here? What are these guys thinking?" And as Dante has said in a few interviews, it's made both teams better, and it's been really good for the league. Wouldn't that be wild if those 2 teams squared off in the final? Be crazy.
I stand corrected. Yeah. I think that's what I'd like to see as well.
The one other point that I want to chime in with, again, this next potential matchup for us too, again, we've talked about, and that's been my point to you, Wags, is, okay, they've done it before against Denver. They can do it again. But you have to think, too, when you go the length and when you go the distance with Denver and you're playing at that type of elevation, too, that's not something that people always talk about, but it's a considerable difference if you're talking about, high-performance athletes and you're having to adjust when you're there for a short period of time, then you're coming back to, Minnesota, you're going back and forth. And, again, they've already done it before, so my thought behind this is to see Ant go up and put SGA in his place, and for them to have a dominating series. And again, as your point, you said as well, Wags, they haven't necessarily done anything in the playoffs, so they don't quite have that veteran experience across the board going super, super deep into the playoffs. I think it's one of those things too where, again, regardless of where, home court advantage is or whatnot, I think it's a better place to be playing in OKC than in Denver. But again, legacy too. Ant's obviously put down a lot of greats the last couple of years in some series, and I think this would really cement his case for, again, arguably, one of the best, if not the best, in the NBA right now.
It would be an incredible statement and push forward for the Minnesota Timberwolves to get to the NBA final, first time in franchise history. Then you let the chips fall where they may and you see where they go. But for basketball to be, can you guys still hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Got you, Eggs.
For basketball to be on the map going into late May, early June, wonderful thing for this state. It's really awesome, and it's been really fun for me see my hockey friends say, "I'm watching basketball now."
Yeah.
And then I always say, I'm like saying, "What took you so long?" It's really interesting, guys. What is this like? There's this like either you're one or the other, and you can't possibly be both. Like I'm a hockey guy. I play. Why can't you like do both? Like who says?
Well,
I think a lot of hockey fans were hockey players and couldn't play both during their formative years. But so there's a little bias there. But I have a quick something after we get done here. I wanted to get your opinion on what Shaq said about Ant after this. Go ahead.
I was just going to say the sports couldn't be more different. I mean, it's as far as like the demographics and the game and who in one, if you played hockey, you probably didn't play hoops. If you played hoops, you probably didn't play hockey.
Well, you can still respect and appreciate the game.
Oh no, I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying I don't think people are as inclined to follow the sport if they didn't have some sort of, unless they're just a rube or a fan.
I mean, hey, if two kids are fucking playing tiddlywinks in the street, I'm watching it. So maybe I'm just a weirdo. Like, wow, what competition? No, but I mean,
I like them both.
Me too, but Peanut, to me, when you look at the games and the purpose of the games, defensively and transitionally and the object of the game, you're scoring in a different way, but they're very similar. And I'm going to share a quick story is that Greg Treble is a Hall of Fame coach in high school hockey. He was a stud at the Academy of Holy Angels. Is L. Teagues coming in right now?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay, because JC had the big smile going there. And he was a basketball coach. He was a basketball player. And he started coaching hockey in the mid-'70s. And he took a lot of the basketball comments to the hockey rink and became a championship caliber coach team. He's the one that built and crafted the Bloomington Jefferson juggernaut of the 90s that won back-to-back state titles, which nobody's done, I don't know if ever. Matt, has anybody ever done that?
Done what?
Hockey. Back-to-back, boys.
I don't think so.
Maybe
Eveleth.
Probably way.
Maybe Eveleth way back. Okay, thank you for that. Matt Harrington with a contribution. No, but I mean it just fascinates me where people kind of have this. It's sort of like there's no either you're a Packer fan or you're a Viking fan. Either you're a hockey guy or a basketball. Can you be both? That's all I'm asking. And it's interesting for me hearing a lot of hockey guys saying, "Well, I'm getting into this. I don't know what I've been missing." That's kind of cool. I would just like to see the basketball people say the same thing when the Wild go to the Cup. Do you think they'll do that?
Oh my God!
Who do you think Conley wants to play?
I think that's a no. But anyway.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Who do you think Conley wants to play in the next round?
I don't think he's thinking about the next round.
No, but do you think he wants to play Denver, the team that he built?
Oh, in the next round?
Yeah.
I don't think he wants to play anybody. They don't think that way. They don't think like a fan. They think like, what do we have in front of us?
Yeah.
What do we need to do? Because it doesn't matter which team is which. They're both very competitive, very professional. They both have all three of those teams that are still left in the West could claim a title. So I don't think it's a matter of emotionally, I want to face my old mates. No, he doesn't think that way. If he does, he'd get gobbled up and chewed out and wouldn't be a successful executive. You got to be like Rain Man with this stuff, JC.
Yeah,
you gotta you gotta let the fans be the fans, and then you gotta be fucking straight down the line.
Yeah, he feels like he's very basketball savant.
Hey, what's going on? You know who it is.
Oh, right on.
Or you just be like, ooh.
Oh, shit. This is the wrong clip. Sorry, boys.
We'll get another clip out then. I was like, wait, did somebody join our stream?
That was one of Doc's voicemails.
Knock down a couple doobies.
Hey, how's that? Quick side note here. How's that Starbucks cup over there?
Oh, look at this. It is old school, so we don't have that wokey Diana crap. It's the old school. Listen. It's the hard, crunchy plastic with the reservoir. You know, they're not charging me 5 cents for a bag. Did you ever hear that story, Jeff? Did I ever tell you that story about the bag at Jerry's? So City Medina decides they're going to charge you a nickel a bag, and the idea is to keep you from buying bags. First of all, half the bags are paper, so who gives a shit?
If that's the case, charge like 50 cents.
Okay, and then if you don't want me to use plastic, don't give me plastic. Just give me paper bags, okay? I don't care. So I'm in there, and I'm just like livid, and this lady working there comes up, and I hit the wrong bag number. She needed to correct it to 3, okay? So I said, this is ridiculous. What the hell has happened to the city I used to live in? I'm getting charged for a bag. I mean, what is this? Is this Aldi? What's going on here? And she goes,
they want you to bring your little tote bags in.
Yeah,
I'm not bringing the tote bag in. If I did, I'd go to Aldi.
You need to bring in the reusable.
I could never see you bringing your little tote bags in.
We need the reusable tote bag, right? We need it around your shoulder.
She made the epic mistake of saying at the grocery store with the highest margin price of anything in the state of Minnesota, she ends up saying to me, well, that doesn't even cover the cost of the bag. I go, well, your margins do. Okay, your ketchup is $10. What am I supposed to do? You're already getting the ketchup. Now you're digging me for the bag because, again, China's sending over all the plastic and the straws under our shores anyway. Whatever.
Oh my gosh! I was going to say that was the thing too when I visited in Beijing. That they charge for bags too, plastic bags as well.
We become China in Edina. Yeah. China rhymes with Edina.
Boy, that's Mayor Hovland. We love him. Term limits.
Oh my gosh, I love it. All right, so
thanks for that rant. I was waiting for this video from Shaq. Are we getting it?
We're not.
Oh, we're not. Okay,
I've got 2 minutes.
Yeah. What was the gist of it, Doc?
Basically, he said Ant is good, but he needs to be great if they're going to win a chip. Essentially,
totally. That's it.
Yeah, I mean that's profound.
I like what Randall said. He goes, "I try to make the game easy for him." That's the kind of guy he is.
We've got a viewer, Matt, starting to watch this. I heard my rant going on the. Should we downshift now to the Twins?
Yeah, because I got 2 minutes.
JC's got 2 minutes.
I've got the hat on. I ripped this thing the first time it came out. I thought it was the Minnesota Marlins, and I've warmed into it.
I thought it was Monarchs.
You've warmed into it.
I've warmed into it. I'm a fan.
I like the TC hat personally.
I got a really, really good thing for you guys. A couple of things here. First of all, 11 in a row is titillating. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how happy I am. 24-20. They have the third wild card spot. If they win one more, they have the second, and then they start reeling in your Detroit Tigers, which is absolutely amazing. Their starting pitching staff
they're the pace setter for the whole American League. So that's, they haven't made up much ground with their 11-game win streak. So thank God they have it.
You know what's interesting is that the Dodgers aren't cutting through everything like a hot knife through butter because what happened? They got hurt. So they've got injured pitching, and now they're trying to bring Kershaw back maybe a little sooner than they want to because they're trying to keep this thing going. And you know what? I think you kind of need to when you have that kind of payroll because whether you like it or not, they need to win. When you have a lineup like that, you need to win. So I'm at this convention in Milwaukee. Guy comes up to me, and I said, yeah, me and Matty Ice are going to go to the Twins Brewers game. We're staying an extra day. We're looking forward to going to now American Family Field, formerly Miller Park. And he said, yeah, we've got suite seats if you guys want to use those. And I said, well, let me see if we can sell them. And maybe we will. But Matt, we're going to sit in our seats. We're not going in the suite. because then it means I'd have to do business and I don't want to have to do a deal. So we're out. It's too expensive.
We're out.
So, they bring you into the suite and then they're going to want another 10 grand in sponsorship dollars out of us. And I'm like, fuck that. Like I've got good seats for $35, 10 rows up from behind home plate. I don't want to have to cut an advertising deal. I'm out. I'm in no mood for it. So this guy comes up to me and he's like, I said, something about the Twins, and he said, I'm not going to that game tomorrow night, and I don't go to any games until the Twins sell.
Huh?
And I said, okay. I said, so let me ask you. He goes, I hate the poll ads. I said, so what did they ever do to you personally? Like, I'm asking honestly, what did they do? And you were getting the car, Matt. You missed this.
I guess, yeah.
And I said, what do they physically do to you? And he said, he said, well, they don't spend money and they don't do this. I go, oh, okay. I'm going to tell you, is this getting louder and louder on my end? I'm getting distorted. Let me bring this down a little bit. Are we better? Is that better?
Yeah, you sound good. You sound good.
You're consistent.
So I said, okay. I said, so, losing $450 million of their own dollars just to give you a baseball club isn't enough for you. You want more, you want more, you want more. I said, okay, well, I get that. He goes, well, I want him to sell. I go, okay, what if they sell to a guy and he takes it to Nashville or Charlotte? Will that make you happy? Well, they would never happen. I go, how do you know? You don't know that. Just because you're Minnesota doesn't mean you're special. You're not New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, or Boston. Stop it. So then I said, okay, well, what would get you back? He goes, if they start winning. I go, isn't 11 in a row enough? They'd already beaten Baltimore. I'm like, come on. I go, now you're just being a douche.
Should have said, have you heard of Norm Green?
Yeah. Well, that's but that is it is so douchey. I think the Twins fans are being pathetic right now. They pissed and moaned as their excuse to not go to the ballpark because they said they didn't spend money on a winner. Now they're winning, and now they're saying they just don't like them, so now they can't support them. That, guys, in my opinion, has no weight with me. Just shut up. Yeah. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me.
That guy's got a case of POLAD derangement syndrome.
This comes from, you know what? You read the articles some of these guys are writing, and the crybaby whining that's gone on about the lack of spending. You get your paycheck from whoever you write for. Good for you. You don't have any business sense in the world where you really run a real business, and you don't know what a profit loss statement looks like. You don't know what it's like to try to bring in sponsorship dollars and have a decent TV partnership, which is most of your money. You don't know any of that, but you could say, they're 17th in the league in payroll, which is right about where the market is. I think everybody can calm down. This is one of the best pitching staffs starting that we're seeing. How about the Sheriff? 2 incredible starts in a row, looking good. He's feeling good now. He's saying that. And then the bullpen has been rock solid. The bats are coming along. Cody Clemens with a huge home run. JC.
How about Buxton? How about Buxton? I mean,
well, now he's hurt, so I'm worried.
Yeah,
true.
Unfortunately,
true.
Okay, I got to roll.
But so far,
get Matt Harrington on there. Have him dial in. Love you guys.
Thanks, JC. Thanks, JC.
Sorry.
Enjoy the golf journey, buddy. Did you see them clack their heads, Peanut?
No, I didn't. I saw you guys. You guys were texting in the thread the clip, some previous clips or previous gifs, but no, I didn't. I didn't see that. It was a lazy pop up back a second. It was in that in between land where Correa was going out, backpedaling a bit to get it, and Buxton, who's flying, is coming in full speed. Looked like they said that his chin hit Correa's shoulder, and then their heads hit, and so they're in. I don't think they're in concussion protocol yet, particularly, but they're definitely in the observing to see if they should go into it. And if they do, that's 7 days. We know Buxton, I think, had a concussion 2020 or 2021, somewhere in that era. I don't think Correa's ever had one, but I mean, Correa, when he was down, and Doc, you know this, when a guy's arms go up and they're on their back after they've been knocked out, that's scary. Or his hands were straight back over his head and he wasn't moving. That was scary to me. Mm-hmm. Would you agree with that, Doc?
For sure. I mean, we've seen it time and time again, and it always it doesn't usually end pretty well. It usually ends with a concussion or worse.
Do we have that? Do we have that clip? I'm trying to see if I can find it and maybe send it to you. Send it to you over there, Doc. Maybe we can. Maybe we can't. Anyways, yeah, I'll have to dig
It's
and
out
see.
there. It's out there. It's something else. But man, if they can continue these winning ways, though, and to me, it's been all about winning series, and they've now won, I believe, 7 of their last 8 or 6 of their last 7, of which 4 have been sweeps.
Jeez,
that's impressive.
There's-
I'm very bullish on this team. I'm looking forward to going to as many games as I can, and I'm just challenging the fans to say, I'm not going because the Wolves or the Pollads, as they say, suck. They don't spend enough money. The team's winning. So now what's your excuse? Then if you don't want to go, then don't go. That's what I'd say. It's been nice. So the attendance is bumped up in the 20 to 25,000 range. That's good. Hopefully they can keep pushing that into the 30s. And I think if they can do that, that's going to be really good for this team. I have been very happy with twins.tv. It's a very fine $20. Oh, pull that up. You make it full screen, will you?
I will.
Yep, we'll pull it. We'll do full.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Watch this, Peanut.
Yeah, because I didn't see this at all.
The sheriff deals. That's mullet in baseball.
You look like it looks like it's gonna be fine, but watch this.
Watch.
Bang!
Oh, frickin' A.
Look at him.
Oh my gosh, what?
Laid out.
And Buxton hung out of the ball.
Oh my word, what the?
They were down for 5 minutes. They didn't even move.
Holy smoke!
I mean, at least Buxton's moving his legs, but it looked like Carlos was out cold here. Okay, can you slow it down? Slow it down. So notice that first contact that kind of gave. Watch this. It gave Correa the whiplash, and then the heads hit.
Oh
Boom!
my goodness! That was definitely some wow.
It feels as though Correa
again,
took the worst of it.
Wait, this goes back to like basic stuff that we were learning in like t-ball, like little league stuff. Like that's just those are moments like that where it's like, are they not calling it? Arguably it's kind of in no man's land. I would agree. That's definitely a tough play for Correa, but my goodness,
I think they're moving so hard and so. Oh my God! I haven't seen this angle. Watch this.
Oh
there,
my gosh! It was the chin of the head,
right over the ear.
Wow.
So it was the force of the chin off the shoulder that forced the head snap.
Jeez.
Those are like 2 players that. Very critical to the success of this organization.
This would happen to the Twins.
Minnesota, man, it's not even funny.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that just, you have to be strong at the middle.
It could have been worse. Correa wasn't running necessarily super fast, but it looked like Buxton had some good speed, some good momentum on that coming in for that. But again, I think that's just inexcusable. Those are simple things, like I said, that we learned forever ago, and it just that just shouldn't happen in the bigs. It just shouldn't happen.
But it does. That's the thing. It can happen, and it's part of the bit. Oh, JC, why even bother going? You're so late. Does he have the golf hat on there?
He forgot his phone.
It's been great. Tonight we get Joe Ryan on the mound, so hopefully he spins another gem for this team. And, the way these starters have been going into the 7th and 8th innings now, the bullpen is so fresh and so good. They have the doubleheader. The bullpen was Sterling in that game as well. Simeon Woods Richardson was sent down. I don't know if they've pulled up a player yet, whether it's going to be Zebby Matthews or David Festa, but one of those 2 should be coming up here shortly when their start comes through. What's interesting is I mentioned Cody Clemens. I looked at the box score from yesterday after the injury. It said second base, first base, right field, second. He moved 4 times in the game, and that's exactly what they have him there to do. And he had a mammoth home run the other night, which was essentially the game winner, which was absolutely huge for them. And he had the big home run in Boston, which was great as well. So another nice pickup there by the Twins. And Also, Jonah Bride has been doing a nice job in the corners for them as well, because my guy, Ty France, had a contusion on his foot, code for bruise, after he fouled one off. He missed a game or two, and Bride and Clemens did a great job filling in that capacity for him. So I don't know. I'm bullish on this team. Can you tell, Doc? I'm stoked.
I love it.
Do you guys feel uncomfortable when I'm like positive about a team, or
A little bit.
It's a little different because usually there's and it's interesting and not to be like a complete jerk back to you, but it's different. It's interesting hearing, especially from someone like my dad too, who, Doc, I mean, both of you guys, Wiggs as well. I mean, seeing a lot of teams fall short in very, very important games. It's been a trend. It's been something that's happened on a number of occasions. And so there's more of in as much as, I like to poke fun in it, I usually don't admit it. I mean, it's like the realist. It's like the realist perspective of, okay, it's not to say that you're not going to cheer on and support Minnesota sports, but there's the reality of, okay, they've been in these situations before. History has, oftentimes, will repeat itself or be an indicator of the future. And so to go from, a realist or maybe in our eyes a pessimist at different times, to hear that there's support, or there's actually very little very little of anything negative to say is, I guess, a little bit different for us. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing, but just based on where we've been.
Here's the one
He
thing.
He just doesn't want to follow the rubes.
I'm not a rube. No, here's the one thing that I really maintain, though, is like, I will tell the truth of what I think. Doesn't mean it is the truth. Doesn't mean I know what I'm talking about at all. I could be complete full of BS, whatever. And it's just my opinion. It's just what I see. And do I have any illusions of grandeur? Sticks reference with this team? No. Do I think they win a World Series this year? No. Do I watch them and want to see them play good baseball with a shot to get into the postseason? For sure. There's nothing worse than watching a team in Major League Baseball that is out of it by June 1st. It is atrocious. But they're setting themselves up. They've got such good prospect pools coming. I don't know. I don't think the sky has fallen at all with this team, and I think they've done a really good job. They're trying to run a good business, and I think we have to realize as fans as a whole that the game goes beyond just throwing money at players. I mean, Doc, with your business, you've got all sorts of decisions you need to make on equipment, gear, personnel, lighting, everything that you do, you've got to decide, okay, what makes me money, what doesn't make me money, and what's a good decision.
Yeah, what's the balance? What's the balance? Yeah, for sure.
Right. Is it a popular decision by the faithful? Well, the faithful isn't deciding. They're watching the game, and they've won 11 in a row, and I just say, shut up. Now, one of the things that I would say to this, Peanut, is this. You guys are going to love this topic, and you actually segued into something you had no idea that was coming. When we were at dinner the other night, our company is based in Montreal, and we've got people from all over North America that works with our firm, right? And I was a real good friend of mine, Patrick, is from Toronto. But there were two other guys from Quench Hydration, a drink. I still have like allergies or something. I still sound like I'm like 80 now. I mean, am I screwed with this? Am I going to be like the old man? Anyway, so we were talking about the Leafs after the absolute dump they took all over the rink the other night in Toronto.
That was disappointing.
We had probably a 20 to 30 minute conversation about what it was like to be a Leafs fan, with the ineptitude, with the talent, yet the failure. I mean, it's really taking everything that we have here and amplifying it. And what it really came down to, but they were very depressed. It was fascinating. It was enjoyable. I loved it. I was exploiting it. I was just poking at it. I loved it. But they were like, and Matt was there with me too. But what I came away with is they just kind of like worked their way into this topic where they said they have so much pressure, it's unbelievable. And I said, where does that pressure come from? Is it coming from you guys as fans? Is it coming from the media? They said both. I said, okay, do you think maybe the media needs to calm it down a little bit and just relax? And do you think you guys, a fan threw the jersey on the rink, $100, $200 jersey, just launched it on the rink. He's threw it away. He's no longer wants to be a fan. The emotion. I said, do you think maybe you guys need to just tone it back a little bit and maybe give him a shot to not have to deal with that pressure? And then I said, but beyond that, if I'm a pro player, why would I want to come play for the Leafs with the tax rate you guys have in Canada? Why would I want to play in an environment where the media beats the shit out of me for how I drink my coffee, let alone if I took a dump at the wrong time, to how I play, to fans that do the same? Why would I go there? And they go, well, it's a great town, great fans. I go, is it great? And we got into this huge discussion. What do you think of that?
They're treated like Edina hockey players.
Honestly, I got a guy that lets me text about Edina hockey players, and he's never played the game, and he treats it. I mean, it's like being a Toronto Maple Leaf. I'm like, I don't even reply. I can't reply to it.
Right.
I say you're psycho. You're a weirdo. I can't. It's weird. These are high school kids. What is wrong with you?
How different do you think it is in Montreal compared to St. Paul?
Okay, it's so funny you say that, because when we were having that conversation, Doc, I was thinking that very thing. And what I noticed from being in Montreal, just from a fan base and an expectation, the Montreal generation now is so removed from all of the cups and everything that they've done. There's not this like unreasonable expectation that resides within their fan base anymore. Yes, they love the team, but no, they don't really. I mean, when you walk down the street there, 1 out of 3 people would be able to talk about the Habs with you. When you walk down the street in Toronto, 3 out of 3 would be able to.
Sure. Okay.
So it's just way less intense. The love is really cool, and the love of the game is really cool, but it didn't feel like it was like just huge wicked. They're very realistic about it.
Okay.
I would play in Montreal in a second based off of what I've experienced in this discussion, what I've observed, and then being in Montreal, for sure.
Okay.
Yep. So that was fascinating.
Toronto is crazy.
Well, I think the problem is the passion and it's almost like the sports writers play into the passion of the fans, where they fuel the fire of negativity. And I know they're trying to tell the truth, but there's a lot of projecting going on there, and it just, from what I've observed, like I don't know, man. I mean, I don't think I think they feed off each other in a really bizarre way. And I don't think it's good for the team. The guys do a really good job of like closing it off, for sure. So anyway,
I think our stream got taken down because we showed that clip. Someone shut our stream down. We're still going. We're still recording. But the Twitter went.
We came back on. We came back on.
Did? Okay.
Yeah, we came back on another one because I looked and I'm like, wait, I was just double checking how long we've been running.
Okay.
But,
so we're live.
We're still good. We're still live.
Good. We're good.
What else do you got on the docket over there, Wiggs?
Well, Danila Yurov. I'm trying to get the frog out of my throat here. I think I just did it with this water. Danila Yurov signed by the Wild, entry-level 3-year deal.
How do you feel about that?
Love it. I've never seen him play a minute, but I honestly think that he is going to be a very, very vital piece to making this all come together for this hockey team, as far as being a 200-foot player, an offensive machine. He has done things 21-year-olds and under have not done in the KHL, so he is definitely the real deal, and he plugs a hole there for sure. I think he's if he doesn't make it out of the team, he could go back to his KHL team, which would probably be a better brand than the AHL. At least that's what I'm reading. I don't know if that's necessarily true, because I think the AHL is a very good league.
Interesting. Yeah, I was pulling up. I'm just reading some of the comments here on. Actually, yeah, they just announced it. Like 2 hours ago? It looks like they posted it on X at least, and again, a lot of the comments, excellent, big W. Yeah, a lot of excitement. Let's go. Good start. Continue cooking. Yep. So it sounds like, again, a lot of people were in agreement with some of your thoughts as well. And again, like you said, that's a good piece in the right direction.
Sorry, can you still hear me okay now?
We got you. Yep.
Yeah, well,
got
because
you.
it was weird. Like, I've got my headsets in through my Vocaster hub. And it seems like the volume just kept going up and up and up, and it was like Mr. Distortion. I started sounding like Darth Vader. Like, what the hell?
Not on our end. Not our end.
Okay, good. On my end, it's like, what is going on? So I feel better now. We've never seen the guy play, but the projections and everything everybody's saying about what he can do and how he can play certainly is looking like this is going to be a nice fit. But you know what? We don't know if he's guaranteed to make this team because it comes down to, are they going to sign some free agents at the center ice position? Are they going to bring in some other people that might push down the depth chart and you got to compete for it? And maybe he's not ready. So it's a name that everybody's been looking forward to. None of us have really seen him play live. So I think seeing what happens there is going to be a big deal. And there's just, what they do this summer, it's going to be interesting because I think everybody has their own thought process. And it was interesting to see in The Athletic. Did you see that article, Peanut or Doc?
I didn't.
Lay it on us.
Sam Bennett was mentioned in there about like the targeted free agent, and some people don't want the older guys and whatnot. And I was listening to Lou on the Barrero show, Lou Nanny this week, and the Sam Bennett name came up, and Lou made he's usually knows what's going to happen. You can tell. And all he said, guys, he said, I don't know, man, it's going to be really hard to draw Sam Bennett out of South Florida. Even though he is a UFA, those guys love playing in Tampa and they love playing in Miami. They do. Those have been, and there's a huge contingency of guys that play in the Northeast and other areas of the country that go to Miami to train in the summer.
Sure.
For the season. In fact, there's a 3-on-3 league that we will be streaming. They're going to be coming up here to New Hope with a lot of the pros and playing some games, which is going to be great. We'll be streaming that as well. I'm looking really forward to that. But yeah, man, it's going to be hard to get that guy. And if they do, I'd be shocked. And again, I don't know if Steve Duchesne wants to leave Dallas either. If Dallas has the money, they may keep him. Some of these guys might get into like what the Detroit Red Wings were like when they were winning their cups. There was a lot of good, strong, unrestricted free agent veterans that were like, we'll pay for less. We've made our money. Let's win some more cups. And so I don't think it's going to be as easy this year. I'm kind of trying to caution everything because I don't think there are that many chips in free agency available that are high end that they'll be able to land that makes sense. Yep. I've said who they were. You want to go younger, but there's not that much younger. And then you get into the, okay, now we got to make some trades. But then when you look at this roster, what do you have to trade? Is it picks? Well, they dumped a bunch of them here for some of their most recent trades. You can't really do that. And then you say, okay, well, what about this player? No move, limited, no move, so forth and so on. You can't, or too good. Everybody somehow traded Marco Rossi off this roster.
Wow.
I still don't know why you would trade 60 points and what that was all about. So I don't know if the team has given up on him. I don't think they have. I think the writers have, but and maybe they know more than me because they're having conversations. But I don't think this team, from what I'm thinking and what I'm seeing them say, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that they're going to trade him. And Doc, that's like probably their most open, free, tradable piece. And then I brought up to the Toronto guys, I said, yeah, the sexy thing around here is that the Wild are going to offer sheet Matty Nyes from the Toronto Maple Leafs. And they all laugh. They go, they'll match it. They'll match it in a second because they'll get rid of guys. He's priority one. So I don't think there's an Ice Cube's chance in hell that Matty Nyes comes to the Minnesota Wild. Yeah. Leafs aren't going to let him go.
No.
So, there you go. And I stand by that for sure.
Yeah. We're already at 54 minutes, fellas.
Yeah, we are.
Can you believe that?
Holy cow.
Do we have any thoughts on the transition to just talk a little bit of rookie mini camp or no?
Sure.
What do you think, Wags? What do you got for us on that end?
I was going to defer to you guys. I don't have much, I think it's going to be an interesting thing. And, I always enjoy what it's for. And it's really integrating these players into the Vikings culture. And, what's interesting, Matt Harrington, I've referenced him. He left the room. He got sick of me screaming at the top of my lungs in this hotel room. But he had seen somewhere where Caleb Williams did not want to be in Chicago before they drafted him. Had you heard anything like that, guys?
That's interesting that you brought that up. Wait, and correct me if I heard wrongly. You said that he didn't want to, because I heard statements that saying he did want to come here.
Ooh, you froze up.
Caleb Williams, you mean?
Yep. Can you hear us again, Wags?
Can you hear us now?
Did I lose you guys?
We got you,
No,
Wags.
we got you.
Oh, you may not be able to hear us.
We got you, Wags. Do you hear us?
Yeah, I'm frozen on the screen there. Your feed into me is okay. Now we're back. That was unreal. The double chin was just elevated to like next level.
Oh my gosh! I heard the statements that he said he did want to come here, that he didn't want to go to Chicago. That they were trying to. It was an interesting storyline headline that they were trying to basically ensure that he did not go to Chicago.
Minnesota?
No.
His family?
Williams did not. He did not want to go to Chicago. That's the storyline that's coming out.
What I heard today was that
Minnesota.
What I heard today was that he's just left to watch film on his own. No coaches walking him through the plays, and he's just watching film on his own. And so I think you'll hear a little bit more about that, because I just heard that this morning. Yeah. And so I think there's, I think what I heard was that after he visited Chicago, he's like, I can do it here. And then the season played out with 36 sacks and whatever. And it came out this morning that he was, he's kind of left on his own to figure the offense out.
Even now with the new coaching staff?
At least last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So with the new coaching staff, they're going to cultivate that. It's really interesting because I have been saying all along, I didn't know why Justin Fields was even moved. Like I thought he was he had a really good year before they drafted him. They just said, okay, you're out, on to the next. And I'm like, is there really going to be measurable difference? Maybe there will, but it's got to be measurable, for sure. Do we know this for sure? And then I was talking to a Bears fan down in the hotel lobby. The woman that checked me in was talking. She goes, I'm a huge Bears fan. And then she started talking about Caleb Williams and Justin Fields. And she goes, I and a lot of people were like, why did they let that guy go? And she goes, I think he's going to fit in great in New York with the Jets and just kind of do his thing. And I go, do you think anything's going to change in Chicago? And you know what her answer was? Why would it?
Why would it?
Why would it?
I go, wow, okay. I go,
they have a bit of a self-defeating fan base too.
Yeah. I'm sitting in Milwaukee here, and I'm like, so what do you do with the Green Bay fans in here? And she goes, I really respect them. I deal. That's okay. She goes, everything's Green Bay. She goes, and I'm in their area, so it should be. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I go, do you wear Bears gear? She goes, not really. Only when I go home. I thought that was interesting.
Interesting. Say real quick. Real quick on top of that, I was going through, obviously the schedule got released just the other day. How do you feel, Wags, about seven nationally televised games for the Vikings, and they also secured 2, or I should say back-to-back international games with Dublin in London as well.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that with their schedule?
Are those in addition? That would be almost 9 nationally televised games because of the timing, right? Or are those included in the 7?
Those are included. You got week 1 against the Bears, week 2 against the Falcons, 4 Steelers in Dublin, week 5 Browns London. Then they have one against the Chargers Thursday night. Then they get to play Dallas. That's going to be really fun. End of the year, towards the tail end of the year, week 15 Sunday Night Football.
I think they'll flex in if JJ does halfway decent. I think they'll probably flex in some more games.
Yeah, I could potentially see that too.
I would agree. I think when A-Rod is lighting it up, they'll do that for sure.
Yeah. The other thing to note of real quick before we
you always let that go. Oh, Peter didn't catch it.
I was focused on the next thing.
So to your question, the London Ireland thing, I think it's great. Two totally different teams, two totally different places. But ask the Jags how that went for them. I mean, what I worry about is you have the Lewis Seen injury. You seem to get some weird turf-related injuries over there, which kind of puts me on caution. Like get in there, get out, get back into the facilities you're used to having American football on. I'm not disparaging anything in the UK or anything in Ireland, any of that, none of that. But you have seen it. And it does say, "Holy shit, let's just get out of this."
For something like that, though, when you have back-to-back international games, you can't tell me that they're going to fly all the way back, then fly all the way back out. There's no way. There's no way that they're staying. They're staying out there.
The beauty is you go there and you go, okay, if we can get a split, because on week 2 they'll have been there and their body clocks are completely ripping, and that's going to be a good thing. What's interesting is they have the bye
week
after
6.
that second week.
Yep.
So they can go on an international trip,
which
get
is
away
nice.
from Rube Central, and just become the team they need to be. Hopefully put together some good football and win a pair and not get a split and win the pair and do some damage. I think that's good. So
I think it'd be pretty great if we could go into that bye. I think realistically we could be 4-1.
I'm not counting wins anymore.
Not counting wins. Well, I looked at the schedule. I looked at the schedule, and honestly, I think I could say confidently that they could be a 12-win team next year.
Well, I mean, we don't know that because
True.
Some of the teams they're playing is this. This is why I'm saying this. It's like, oh, there's a win, there's a loss, there's a win. Well, the team that you think is a win has 3 wickedly vicious injuries, and then a loss, and that becomes a win. And then some teams come out of nowhere and they're playing unbelievable, and then that's not a win. So for me, I don't even look at that.
Sure.
I just say, who do they play in the first week? Let's stay healthy. Let's see how things go. If it is J.J. McCarthy, great. I still adhere to the fact that, wow, either that guy is going to be like all-world unreal, and they really, truly believe in an untested player to run this offense. I mean, I know they picked up Howell, and that's fine, but that's not really, to me, that's probably Mullins 2A for a backup,
sure.
Right? I still have a hard time believing they've invested that kind of money into a team to not have a veteran quarterback leading it, with its window not being as long and wide as you think it is. I know they're doing the proverbial competitive rebuild. And to get back to the whole circle back to the question that Doc asked, the one thing that I look forward to in these rookie camps is seeing and listening to which of the free agent signees are getting the most pub, which ones are really making eyes turn and people say, this guy's got a shot. Seems as though this team has been doing a really, really good job, almost better at that than drafting.
No doubt.
With some impact players. So can we get a player or two out of that pool? Very possible.
Yep.
I mean, let's see.
Yeah.
So that's where my head's at with it.
Well, I think that's the speech to the fellas is Ivan Pace. I'm sure, I know OKC is having that conversation with these UDFAs, and
KOC.
and I think it gives them a lot of hope. And who knows if we get 2 or 3 UDFAs that make this team, that's a bonus.
Huge. That's huge. Yeah, I was going to say too.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say over under that they have. I'll have to check some of the other books and different entities out there, but it looks like our over under for the year is 8.5, and then we are slated to have the 5th hardest schedule in the NFL this year.
So, buoying my point of you have the 5th hardest schedule in the National Football League. If you're going with this lineup as is at the quarterback position with what's in the room, what they're saying is 8 to 8.5 wins, which is subpar for playoffs at this stage. It's under 500. So, well, if you do the 8.5, it's 9 basically. So maybe 9-8, but it's a 500 team. So, is that really what they're going to do? I'm just going to challenge that. I'm going to stay with it. I could be 100% wrong, but I firmly believe something's going to happen. I do.
This is the last minute of play in the period.
We'll see. I don't have too much else on that. I'll leave it up to you guys.
I have nothing but hunch. I have nothing. I have no facts. I have no hunch. Everybody can say, God, what a complete tool. No clue, whatever. That's fine. Good for you. Say anything you want. But it feels like I don't buy that, man. I don't. Long and short of it, PGA, another major this weekend. I always love the major weekends. Lots of fun. Love to see that Johnny Vegas was leading the way, a PGA veteran. Again, I know what I'm going to be doing Sunday. Coming back from Milwaukee tomorrow. Going to bring us a Twins win. They're soon to be 12th in a row with Joe Ryan on the hill.
Awesome.
Looking really forward to it, and can't wait to get back. Hey, what was the weather like yesterday, Doc? Did you lose any trees?
It was crazy, super windy, but it just basically jumped over us and went kind of northeast.
Northeast, yep.
And there were multiple tornadoes. So.
When you say northeast, what do you mean, like northeast?
New Richmond.
More towards getting closer towards like Wisconsin too. Wisconsin got hit.
Somerset.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, because like seriously, if I get about a 10-mile-an-hour wind, half of this mammoth tree just falls all over my house. So
you may have.
I can't wait to come back.
You may have a missing.
There's probably
tree.
a couple of branches and whatnot all over the yard and house.
These are branches that are like Widowmaker big.
Yeah. Ooh.
I'll take a pic.
Let's hope you don't have a hole in the roof when you get home.
Oh my gosh, too funny. Well, do you have any
final
final
thoughts
points on your end? Wags, any final points?
No, I love the Wolves' progress. It's so good to be a Wolves fan, be a Minnesota fan for that. Love how the Twins are playing. Excited to see what the Vikings can do. Just cautiously optimistic on the Wild. I know for sure they have a plan, and I just caution everybody. Even though the owner said it's going to be like Christmas, I don't think it's going to be that much because I don't think they have that kind of money to spend for it to be what you think it would be because not that type of player. So it will be interesting to see what they do, and I just think they're going to be better next year.
Yep.
They do have a backup goaltending issue in Wallstedt. Don't know if he's ready or not. We'll have to see. He may need to do a little more work down on the farm. And I'm going to be watching the PGA, as I mentioned, and I love you guys. It's great, miss being in there, but I think this is actually decently well, Doc.
Heck yeah. Hey, real quick, before we go, we got NBA tonight. We got NHL. We also have the WNBA. Minnesota native Paige Bierkers is going against the Minnesota Lynx tonight.
Let's go.
Is that regular season or is that playoff?
Regular season. Regular season.
I forgot to mention the Minnesota Frost playing for the Walter Cup again, looking for back-to-back titles. If they hang a second banner in back-to-back years, they are just making the Wild look brutal. That would be unbelievable. They're gonna have a whole row of banners before the Wild can nudge out another division title crown. It's unbelievable.
Hey,
that lonely 2007, 2008 banner looks really it's discolored because it's so dusty.
Hey, you're going to the game tonight, right? Twins game, right? You said that?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, so we didn't go home. We stayed here for that.
Have a blast. Yeah, there's a lot of good sports going on tonight.
The Miller Lite here is super fresh because it's made right up the road. Can't wait.
Let's go.
Let's go. All right.
All right.
Let's hit the outro again.
Yeah. From the Meta Sports League studios, this has been the DigiFan Podcast for Wags, JC, and Peanut. So long. See you next Friday.
Have a good weekend, you guys.
Bye.
Cheers.